Sara has lived in Tucson for 4 years, and during that time has developed a passion for telling her stories on stage. She started as a writer and photographer in Texas and is now a Tucson burlesque performer. Woo! And 2-time FIST storyteller. Welcome up to the stage, Sara.
I thought the second time would be easier, but we're still here. For 7 years, there was no other option in my life other than gymnastics. My entire identity was wrapped tightly around the sport, like the fraying, bloody skin under the matted tape around each of my fingers. After a significant back injury, I was no longer on the national team, and I was no longer devoting my life to my childhood dream. I was quickly redirected into academia, and I would soon become the first-generation college student in my family. As a 21-year-old college freshman at Texas Women's University in Denton, Texas, I was fresh out of high school and transitioning into the college student that everybody expected me to be. I was young and unsure about almost everything. Career goals, passions, lifestyle, fashion style, friends, favorite food, favorite music, everything. I didn't know who I was. But I was sure of my family. I knew that I was my mother and father's daughter, and I would be the one to be the successful, kind, and make some kind of large-scale impact on the world, and I would replace gymnastics with whatever that was and make it my identity. One evening, my mom requested that I set aside a full Saturday to spend the day with her. That Saturday morning, she picked me up at the parking lot of the all-girl dorm at TW, and we drove to the nearby Denton Public Library and walked toward the grassy area in the back of the building. We crossed the wooden bridge that connected the two sides of the flood ditch and found the most hospitable tree, and we laid out a blanket underneath. It was a calm morning that ended up being one of the most pivotal events of my life that sent me directly into the eye of my own personal storm. Scene. It's a bright blue morning in Denton, Texas. It's balmy and lacks responsibility. I'm ready to talk away the hours and laugh in clusters of whole minutes with my best friend, my role model, my mom. The Denton Public Library lawn is soothing for the green-thumbed gardener. Emerald trees, full and rustling, complement the vibrant padded lawn and create a gardenscape postcard fantasy. The unpretentious bridge, benches, and picnic tables are worn from decades of quiet visitors. It's warm, and the rays of light maneuver their way through the leaves of the towering trees. The breeze blows the scent of rich soil from the nearby community garden through mine and my mom's ash-brown hair. The birds flocking through the area trace the sky with their happy whistles that fill the extra space in my mind. It's a tranquil area, obviously, with minimal visitors in the middle of a day on a Saturday. We pick what seems to be the perfect patch of grass under this wide-reaching tree for the desired amount of shade. Mom grabs the corner of an aged quilt and unravels the blanket onto the lawn. The blanket is worn with aged memories. Some corners are torn, some stitching, unraveling. It was a light-colored quilt of dusty pinks and sage greens, bought at an auction in California that's been in our tiny family since I was born. The blanket is expansive and swallowing, and I can feel the grass beneath us flatten the longer we sit. And a sharp thought needles its way into my mind as I imagine all of the insects and other creatures that we just cloaked in darkness. Mom packed a picnic fit for queens with all of our favorite finger foods. Come on this journey with me. Greek olives and sun-dried tomatoes, a perfectly balanced, crusty, doughy French baguette, gourmet Stilton cheese with a pleasurable stench. Yes, I said that. Fresh pears and grapes to balance the feast, and 2 bottles of my favorite white wine, already chilled. Somebody likes that. I lean over and reach for the baguette when a large yellow envelope lands directly in front of my folded legs. The pointed corner briefly digs into my shin, like a warning. As I dart my focus to her face, I'm stunned by the sight of all of her insecurities falling like rain from her reddened eyes onto the tethered quilt. She is pleading for my forgiveness and is reassuring her love for me in mumbles and sobs. The library yard is empty. No one is there to witness the emotional connection between family and watch it dismember itself in consecutive moments as I open the envelope. The image of my mom as she shatters and pleads for my forgiveness bleeds all over the happy, crisp green postcard-like park. Her sweaty hands extend out toward mine, panicking and grasping for them just as her words and heart are grasping for what seemed like air. After peering inside the envelope, I slip a stapled packet of 4 pieces of paper from the opening. Stalling, I slowly discard the envelope to the left of my crisscrossed legs and I stare at it before averting my eyes to the packet of papers. On the front page, there are 3 separate printed images. One is of my father, long, light blonde hair, bright, almost clear blue eyes that look like glass. He's shirtless and sitting in the sand at an unknown beach. Another image is of a half smile, delicate and calm on my mother's face as she sits in the same sand. And then a third, a dark-haired man with similar dark eyes and a smile cracked across his face. A foreign stranger of a man who was also sitting in what I assumed was the same sand. My mom is opening a bottle of wine as I turn the page. She chokes on the air that she was yearning for just moments ago. In this moment, I am discovering images of a man who resembled myself identically, a man whom I've never laid eyes on before. I see images of my mother sitting perched for a photo session with this stranger. There are several images of all 3 of them together in a joyful communion, and images of a little blonde child, not me, running near the ocean. In this emotionally chaotic moment, I am unfolding deep layers of my life that have been successfully kept secret. Secrets withheld, like the final stone of a cairn of identity that would surely send the entire structure tumbling to the ground. I am not my father's daughter. I am not an only child. I am not who I thought I was. The sun dimmed. The birds refused to sing for my pleasure. And all I could hear were the sounds of the insects being crushed by our weight under the ratty, ugly blanket. The trees felt tired of dancing, and the stillness of the world sent a cold sting up my spine. The wind ceased to touch my face. The cheese and the grassy aromas fell odorless. The circular motion that my body took course in made my stomach fail. I trembled as I reached for the bottle of wine and started drowning out the sound of voices in my head. "You look and stand just like your dad," one says. "Your dad is definitely where you get your core strength," another quips. "Your dad is the coolest dad ever," another coos. Then the tumultuous roar of betrayal, disconnection, estrangement, and fear bubbled up from deep in my core and into my skull. I felt lost, like another chunk of my identity was wiped away with a desperate disinfecting wipe, but it wasn't clean. It was messy and unclear, muddled. In that moment, the sunshine wasn't illuminating anything. The birds weren't singing anything. And the insects screaming beneath the blanket were the only voices that I could hear. "Who are you?" they hissed. Scene. My own personal storm lasted for a long time. I watched my family fall apart and my parents drift away from one another, leaving me at my own devices. And I continued to search for something to tether my identity to: a career path, a hobby, a characteristic, a personality. I coached gymnastics. I put myself through journalism school and earned a degree. I joined the Peace Corps, and then I got another degree. I changed homes, cities, states. I grew apart from old friends, and I made new ones. I explored countless hobbies with no avail, until now. I was in long-term relationships with partners, hoping that one day they would guide me to some kind of comfortable identity. And as you might have guessed, I never found a stronghold. After decades of literal soul searching, however, I did find a new perspective. Your identity is not a place, or a job, or another person. It's not your last name. It's not your hometown, or your birthday. Your identity is the spirit inside of you. It's your intrinsic motivation to journey through life in the way that fuels you. It's the way that you question the world around you. It's the thoughts and the feelings inside of your head and in your chest. It's how you revel in the calm. It's how you witness the storm. Thank you.